If you are a professional in the healthcare sector, then you will find this information useful. I will be going over the various pathways to permanent residence available to those who are engaged in healthcare occupations. I will touch upon the avenues available at the provincial level, the federal level, as well as any specific pilots that have been created specifically for healthcare occupations. Let's start. In British Columbia, there is a subcategory called Health Authority, which comes under the BC PNP Skills Immigration. To qualify under this category, you need to be employed by a BC Public Health Authority. Now, that can be quite a challenge. Getting a job in the public health sector is not that easy. However, if you do meet this particular condition, and if you are engaged in any of the occupations listed on the screen, then you would qualify under this category. If you are not employed by the Public Health Authority, but you are still engaged in an occupation that is listed on the screen, you may still apply under the BCPNP and benefit from a targeted invitation to apply. Alberta has a special pathway for healthcare professionals in certain select occupations. Under the Alberta Advantage Immigration Program, there is a dedicated healthcare pathway for these professionals. On the screen, you can see a list of all the occupations that would make you eligible under this dedicated pathway. On the same screen, you can also see the nomination allocation for 2025. For 2025, there were 500 seats that were allocated under this pathway, out of which 170 have already been issued and 330 are remaining. Saskatchewan has a health talent pathway under the Saskatchewan Immigrant Nominee Program. To qualify under this pathway, you would need a job offer in Saskatchewan in one of the occupations listed on the screen. And to help you out with getting a job offer, Saskatchewan has an international healthcare worker expression of interest pool. After creating your profile, you can submit an interest in working in Saskatchewan in one of the eligible occupations that you can see on the screen. If your profile is selected, you would then receive a job posting notification. And if you are selected for that job, and if you subsequently receive an employment offer, you can then become eligible to apply under the Health Talent Pathway. So essentially, you can use the International Healthcare Worker Expression of Interest pool to become eligible for the Health Talent Pathway. Ontario does not have any dedicated pathways to permanent residence for healthcare occupations. However, there are targeted invitations to apply for health occupations. The most recent one was on the 3rd of June 2025, in which candidates engaged in the following occupations were invited. For Atlantic Canada, we are going to start with Nova Scotia. Nova Scotia has a healthcare professionals immigration pilot under which they issued a letter of interest to eligible candidates on the 28th of August 2024. Under this pilot, pharmacists NOC 31120 and pharmacy technicians NOC 32124 were invited to apply. In addition to this, under Nova Scotia's PNP, there is a subcategory of international graduates in demand, under which NOC 32102, paramedical occupations, NOC 32124, pharmacy technicians, and NOC 33102, nurse aides, orderlies, and patient service associates are considered to be high demand occupations. Prince Edward Island does not have any dedicated pathway to permanent residence for healthcare occupations. However, healthcare is considered a high demand sector, and there are targeted invitations or targeted draws focused towards healthcare occupations. Before I discuss the various pathways to PR for healthcare occupations under Express Entry, I must provide clarity around one very important point. So there is this misconception that you would qualify for category-based draws with 6 months of experience. That is simply not true. You have to be very careful. To qualify for a category-based draw under healthcare occupations or any other occupation for that matter, you need to be eligible under one of the main three express entry programs, be it Canadian Experience Class, the Federal Skilled Worker Program, or the Federal Skilled Trades Program. So be very clear about that. You will not qualify for category-based ROS if the only experience that you possess is for 6 months for that particular occupation. For category-based ROS for healthcare occupations, you should meet the eligibility criteria that you can see on the screen. Now, keep in mind, it is very important that this criteria is in addition to meeting the eligibility criteria for one of the three major immigration programs under Express Entry. You must first meet the eligibility criteria for Canadian Experience Class or Federal Skilled Worker Program or Federal Skilled Trades Program. And here is the list of all the occupations that come under this category.